Is Russia using remote rockets? Ukrainian Air Force strikes Russian targets. Hello, the Pioneer viewers. As you know, our agenda is the Russia-Ukraine war. While new news from the front line is being reported, many developments related to the war process are taking place in the background. The conditions of war continue to challenge the armies of both countries. The technological capabilities of states have a significant impact on the power of war. Modern armies need to be strong in terms of quality. Compared to the past, the most important needs of today's armies is known as technological superiority. States need to make the necessary investments and design their armies in accordance with their security concerns. Countries that can achieve this can stand out against the countries around them. It is also known that weapons are becoming more lethal as technological advances. With the establishments of the laws of the war and the demarcations of borders, the states have become more cautious. The Russian army is also known as an army that is technologically developing and trying to renew itself. In Russia, where the heavy weapons industry is developed, there are interesting situations, especially in missile systems. New claims about Russia's space rockets have emerged. No official statement has yet been made about the allegations, but the situation remains serious. The Ukrainian Air Force also successfully destroyed Russian targets the other day. With the new reinforcements to the Ukrainian Air Force, significant changes were expected in the course of the war. These changes are slowly starting to take effect. If you're ready, let's analyze Russia's space rocket plans and the operations of the Ukrainian Air Force together. According to the allegations, the former head of Russia's space agency discussed a plan presented to Vladimir Putin to attack Ukraine using a Soyuz rocket. News outlet obtained audio recordings of the conversation involving Dmitry Rogozin, former head of Russia's Federal Space Agency, and Dmitry Baranov, general director of Russia's Progress Rocket Space Center, and revealed the plans. Progress, the Russian space science and aerospace research company, has developed the Soyuz FG rocket, which is used to launch manned aircraft and carry them to the International Space Station. This is where Russia's plan comes into play. Russia planned to crash the rocket it would use to launch into space in Ukraine, making it look like an accident. Rogozin, the former head of Russian Federal Space Agency, had a plan to make Soyuz-type carrier rocket not reach the orbit so that it would crash into the large city in Ukraine. Audio recordings have emerged of conversations in which he talks about converting the rocket to ensure this crash. The total duration of the audio recording is 7 minutes. During the conversations, the two allegedly discussed a rocket coming from the Russian Pletsk spaceport in the Arkhangelsk region, not from the east, but from the north, instead of Vostochny spaceport on the Chinese border. Among the conversations, Progress General Director Baranov is heard saying that it would be 7.5 tons from the east and 10 tons from the north, and explaining that the size of the planned attack. Baranov said a launch vehicle could be pointed in any desired direction, but there was a risk that high explosive bombs or guided warheads would overheat as they entered the atmosphere at supersonic speeds. Another risk that the two reportedly discussed was that fragments of the rocket could fall on Russian territory, and there were some problems with precisions. When asked how long it would take to prepare the operation, Baranov told Rogozin about 6 months. Rogozin then promised to consult Yuri Solomonov, chief designer of the Moscow Institute of Thermal Engineering, on the matter. Rogozin reportedly asked for a report to give his plan to Russian leader Putin through Vice President Anton Vaino. The plan was presented to the Russian President Vladimir Putin on January 16, but no information about Putin's reaction was provided. Moscow wants to win the war in Ukraine by making radical moves, but it has not yet found the strength to do so. Rogozin made many comments on the war in Ukraine. Recently, he came to the agenda with the advice he gave after Kiev's successes in counterattacks. In his advice, Rogozin suggested using tactical nuclear weapons against the Ukrainian army. As we mentioned at the beginning, war transforms with technology and changes its forms. But whatever happens, the law of war and humanitarian values must be presented and developed. If these conditions are not met, it does not matter who wins any war. It is known that the Russian army is numerically superior to the Ukrainian Air Force, but despite this, the Ukrainian army is bravely fighting against the Russian Air Force to control the skies. Footage has emerged of the Ukrainian fighter jet successfully firing at a Russian target during the recent conflict. Footage posted on social media shows a Ukrainian fighter jet destroying a Russian target. A Sukhoi Su-27 fighter jet in Ukrainian colors flew over an unidentified area, but then a missile was fired towards a target. According to information obtained from local sources, the Ukrainian fighter jet had targeted a missile system belonging to the Russian army. Having successfully destroyed the target, the Ukrainian jet then returned to their airbase. The air war over Ukraine has been raging for more than 18 months as Russia has embarked on the full-scale occupation. Moscow's failure to gain air superiority in the opening part of the war is considered one of its most significant failures. The Ukrainian army successfully resisted Russia in the airspace with both drones and missile systems. Russian cruise missiles and drones still regularly fly over Ukrainian skies on their way to targets across the country, but Russian planes now rarely venture into Kiev's territory. The real danger for Russia has increased with the arrival in Ukraine of Western air defense systems, including several batteries of American-made Patriot missiles. The Ukrainian Air Force aims to replace its largely Soviet-era fleet with NATO fighter jets. Ukrainian pilots will soon start flying the American-made F-16 and will begin the second group after the US-led coalitions of the 11 countries trains pilots and maintenance personnel. The training of the first team was completed this week at the Maurice Air National Guard base in Arizona. It is not clear when the F-16s provided by NATO will fight in Ukraine. The Netherlands and Denmark have agreed to donate their fleets to Kiev. The first deliveries are expected to take place in 2024. Belgium has said it will send F-16s in 2025, depending on the agreement of the government emerging from the country's May 2024 elections and how quickly replacements of F-35 fighter jets can be delivered. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said we could see the first capability of Ukrainian pilots flying F-16s in combat as early as next spring. Moscow has reportedly expressed its disappointment with the provision of the advanced fighter jets to Ukraine. Throughout the war, the Kremlin has argued that Western military aid to Kiev prolonged and deepened the conflict, while at the same time framing its full-scale invasion as a preemptive defense war against NATO. What do you think about Russia's space rocket plan? Do you think Russia could have used the space rocket to attack Ukraine? What do you think about the situation of Ukrainian air forces? How do you think the course of the war might change in the coming days? We care about your opinion. Please share it with us.